So leadership, it all boils down to leadership. It all boils down to knowing that when you hire your staff, you have to hire people that are those cool kids. You have to hire staff who are jocks. You have to hire staff who love reading books and just want to be at arts and crafts all summer long. Because you're going to have kids come to your program that are the same way. You're going to have kids that want to sign up for sports and they want to sign up for basketball and they want to spend their whole time at camp running around. And when they get to go to the water, they're going to have an awesome time and they just want to run. And when they go home at night, they're the ones that are going to sleep, which is okay. But you're also going to have campers who want to be at arts and crafts and want to be at pottery and want to go to jewelry making. And you need to make sure that you're providing those opportunities for your staff to develop. And also through that, your campers are having a chance to have a role model who's awesome. Our campers feel like they belong at Camp Lincoln because they find a group of people that they belong to. Everything goes away. All negative thoughts, all phone calls I have to return, all staff discipline I have to deal with disappears in my mind when I walk into a unit and I see a camper sitting by himself. Or I see a young lady just like moping around without any friends. Because I know she or he is not having a good time. That camper is not having a positive experience. So I'm going to look around and I'm going to find the counselor that has the best suited personality to connect with that camper. And I'm going to grab that camper and I'm going to talk to them about whatever. I'm going to find 3 things that camper either loves or absolutely loathes in their life. And I'm going to go up to that counselor and I'm going to say, Jenny, this is Megan. She loves Harry Potter. She hates Lord of the Rings. And she just saw the first 3 episodes of Star Wars and can't wait to see the trilogy. Well, those are 3 things now that the counselor is going to take, and then she's going to introduce that camper to other groups, and there's a connection. You know, I loved Scott's story last night about the camper cat. You know, if we just take 3 minutes of every day to seek out that cat at our camp, that camper who doesn't really fit in, maybe they're a little socially awkward, maybe they're too socially comfortable, you know, whatever the case may be, and help them fit in somewhere, help them find their niche in their community. You're going to end up with leaders at your camp. You're going to end up with leadership that goes out into the community and spreads the word and spreads the traditions and plasters their wall with all of the memorabilia you send them home with. I think one of the best things, there's a lot of great things we do, I'm sorry I keep saying that. When I went to a school in the fall to talk to the principal about some other programs that we're doing and making sure that he's on board with it, and I passed by the wall and they had pictures of their field day from the spring before. And there was maybe 18 or 20 pictures on this poster that they made up. And in 5 of those pictures, there were kids with their Camp Lincoln t-shirt on. Here's my little plug. We work with Bulldogs to get our camper t-shirts, and we give every camper a t-shirt. They're ridiculously priced. We hand them out. It's the best $3 per camper of marketing that you're ever going to spend, because they're going to wear that t-shirt to school. They're going to wear that t-shirt to sports. They're going to wear that t-shirt to bed. When it's worn out, Mom is going to take all the t-shirts and make a quilt. I had a staff member. She hasn't been on staff for like 3 years. She stopped by the other day with this quilt that she made. She was like, I've been thinking about doing this forever, and finally I was bored and I had nothing to do. And so she had taken all of her Camp Lincoln t-shirts and she'd cut the logos out, she'd cut the printing out of all of them and made a huge quilt. Well, she hasn't been to Camp Lincoln in 3 years. She started coming when she was 5. Her brother goes there now. Her other sister is going to be coming next year. And camp has meant so much to her that when she was home from college on Christmas break, she had some downtime. This is a project she'd been thinking about, and she wanted to share it with us. when I look down the road,
Sorry to interrupt everyone. We've got a semi-truck that needs to get through on the roads. We've got a black car, EJK 5633, and Spears Eljabar white van. If you guys can move your cars, that would be awesome. Thank you.
all right. Leadership. So these two girls on the top here are sisters. Their mother came to me at the end of the summer. Jeff, I don't know what you did to my daughters. And I looked at her and I was like, what's going on? And she said, in the fall, for the last year, they have been like cats and dogs. They have not wanted to be in the same room, let alone sit next to each other in the car, sit next, you certainly can't sit them across from each other at the table. They just can't. They're like oil and water. They have been absolutely toxic to each other. Well, the younger sister was a senior CIT this last summer, and she had an opportunity to develop herself, to develop her leadership skills, and to really learn to appreciate what her older sister was doing as a counselor. I was recently asked, what is it that makes a great camp? And I fumbled for like 10 minutes, and I was throwing out, that campers have a sense of belonging, and that campers get to choose what they want to do, and moms feel safe sending their kids there, and a whole bunch of other things that we can all come up with when we ask that question. And I got around to leadership. That the leadership you have at your camp, whether it's the coolest camper or the coolest counselors wearing those headbands or the neon green sweatshirts that you got, or it's that counselor who is walking and talking to their staff, to their campers while they're walking up the hill. As leaders, we make a great impact. This picture down here in the lower left, you may have been able to tell all of our staff get these great Smurf blue t-shirts. The color used to be cornflower blue. They don't make that color anymore. We think that we finally bought out all of their stock and we're now using a different blue, but anyway. And then all of our senior CITs wear maroon t-shirts. And I feel like the two bottom pictures there really sort of, emulate what I'm trying to talk about. If we create opportunities for people to be leaders in our community, then they're going to step up. If you have a great CIT program, then your campers can't wait to be CITs because they get to do camp service, because they get to belay, because they're always having fun, because they're cool. And then your CITs can't wait to be staff members because they've learned all this great stuff. They've learned all these great games. They've learned how to deal with those difficult campers. They've learned everything they need to know. And then when you hire them on day one, when they show up the first day of staff training, some of them are going to be better trained than your returning staff members because they've already had 2 years of training, because they have a passion, they have a zeal to be there, to be leaders in your community. So what makes a great camp? I feel that your leadership development program is really what makes a great camp. And we can look at some of the awesome, resident camps, whether it's Coniston, Beckett Chimney Corner, Spears Eljabar, all of these great camps. If I'm missing out any, I'm sorry, way too many to name. They have a strong leadership program. They have a leadership program that makes campers want to be a CIT. And then those CITs become counselors, and they're awesome. They can't wait to be counselors. One of the boys, a few years ago, one of the senior CITs, the guy holding up the 6x6 over his shoulders, his name's Pat. He has two other brothers. His middle brother has been on staff now. Their younger brother's going to be a junior CIT this year. They don't have a father. Their mother works. She works so hard to help provide for those boys. Camp means so much to them because they don't have to worry about anything when they're at camp. They come to camp and for 8 hours they are carefree. They have an opportunity to lead. They have an opportunity to play. They have an opportunity to express their inner cool and to be the people that they want to be, that they don't necessarily have an opportunity to be at home because they're worried about their mom. They're worried about, you know, a million different things that are going to help them get through their day. Because of Pat, our camp service program area is awesome. It's like, because Pat is there, and Pat has a contagious personality, and if Pat is wearing that sweatband, or if Pat is wearing that hot pink sweatshirt, everybody's going to want to do it. And because Pat leads camp service, it fills. Every period we offer camp service, it's full. And whether they're digging holes in the middle of a 95-degree day with, you know, 1,000,000% humidity, or they're, you know, painting the sides of a building, those campers are having fun. Because while they're doing it, Pat is singing songs. Pat is cracking jokes. Pat is creating those opportunities for campers to feel like they own that paintbrush. That is their paintbrush. That is their side of the building that they just painted, and gosh darn it, Pat told them to do it, so they're going to do it. They're not even going to question it. Pat is right there next to him painting. Pat has more paint on him than all the other campers combined, and they're having a great time. If you have a program area, if you have a place in camp that maybe is lacking, you can do one of two things. The first thing is cancel it. If you don't have a staff member to lead a program area that's going to be awesome, don't offer it. Call in some of your staff members and be like, I need 3 new program areas for this summer. What are you interested in? What are your hobbies? What are your passions? And those are the activities that you should be offering. I know that we had pottery, and the first year and a half that we had pottery, there was more clay on the floor and on the tables, and it was never picked up, and the pottery never fired right, and it was a disaster. Campers loved going down there because they got to use the wheel, and they would get all covered in clay, but they weren't really getting anything out of it. And I was starting to get some, you know, phone calls from parents being like, look, you know, every time my kid's coming home and they've ruined another pair of clothes, like, what's up with your pottery program? And I was talking about this at a staff meeting, and how, you know, well, not specifically pottery, but I was talking about, you know, okay, it's midsummer, and we need to make sure that we're leading in our program areas, and, you know, if there's a mess, we need to be picking it up, and we need to be taking care of our stuff. And my quietest staff member, Kim, walked up to me and she said, Jeff, I've been taking pottery classes at school. Do you think I could go down to pottery and help down there? Absolutely, I had no idea. You bet. So I sent her down to pottery, and all of a sudden, kids were taking home these pieces that looked like a professional had done it. They were glazed, they were fired, they were staying in one piece. We didn't go through any more, you know, we didn't have to order any more clay for the rest of the summer. And all of a sudden, it turned from a mud pit in the pottery barn to this awesome program area that I'm now offering it as a specialty camp because so many campers wanted to be there. We need to make sure that we are using our leaders at camp, and that we are fostering those relationships with our counselors.